millennial 6'7". We were talking about that with the parents over Halloween this past weekend. Let me make sure I remember to press the record button on the soundboard this week because I have not been doing that. It's been making my life more difficult in the back end. So I got a text from Peter over at Deep Roots over the weekend, and he was like, "Dude, did you see the email we sent out?" And I said, "Most definitely." And if you guys have already signed up for their what's the word? Their email notifications, you've got it too. It's about the Staccato P webinar. When I tell you they build the custom rifles like we always talk about here in the beginning, but they also sell a bunch of awesome guns. So, $50 to get into the webinar. That's Staccato P. That's an expensive 2011. You're talking a 17 plus 1 or 20 plus 1 capacity and a handgun, 4 to 4.5 pound crisp and clean single action pull trigger, 4.5 inch bull barrel available in stainless steel and DLC. Weighs 33 ounces with a 4140 steel frame, a 4.4 inch toolless Dawson precision recoil system. Beautiful, beautiful handgun. They're going to do a webinar on it. Okay. They're going to review it. They're going to advertise the product, and then one person will receive the product they're reviewing. So buy one or multiple seats. Once all the seats are sold for the webinar, you'll receive an email with the date and time. And after they review the product, they'll draw a random seat, and you win or you don't. So you don't need to be in attendance at the webinar live to receive the item. Once the webinar is concluded, a recording of it will be emailed to all those who purchased seats. The participant that is selected to receive the item, you'll be notified by email or phone, and then you'll have 30 days to either pick up the item from the shop or send them your FFL you'd like the item shipped to. So, although they can't ship it to Massachusetts or California if you're not an active law enforcement officer. So you cannot receive the Staccato P because it's too cool for those states. Sorry, Tech, if you're in here, haven't seen you pop up yet, but you can't win. You're shit out of luck. And obviously you have to be able to pass a background check, the 4473, in order to win it as well. But it's a really nice handgun. You guys should sign up for their emails, and they come straight from Peter. Peter at deeprootsrifle.com. In your inbox, they send awesome emails all the time, updates about what they got going on over on their website, what deals they got going on, sales, and so on and so forth. But as always, this week's episode is brought to you by Deep Roots Rifle Company, elevated excellence rooted in integrity and reliability. You can use the link in the description to get over to their website where you can buy those Staccato P tickets, the webinar tickets. You can buy any number of awesome things from there. They got everything you'll need to get in the woods this fall, from fully custom rifles built in-house to flashlights to help you find your way in the dark. Be sure to tell them, or be sure to use code UPO10. We got a new code for you. Use UPO10 at checkout for 10% off your order. That way they know that you heard about it here and that's where you're coming from. So the question this week, or I guess the title is, comfort equals dead deer. And I got to thinking about this because it was a post in the Under Pressure Outdoors Nation group asking about the necessity of snake gaiters, right? Do you need them? Do you not? And my reply was, you do what makes you comfortable, because the more comfortable you are, the longer you'll stay in the woods. So if you're comfortable walking without them at all and just risking getting, hit by a rattlesnake, I mean, we live in a first world country. Your likelihood of dying from a rattlesnake bite is very low, although it's going to be extremely painful. So 6 one head doesn't the other. I have snake gaiters, and I prefer snake gaiters over boots because I can get up in the tree and then I can take the snake gaiters off. And in the early season, that makes a big difference. Last time I checked, you don't typically find rattlesnakes in pine trees, but I guess you never really know. So I'll get up in the tree, get comfortable, take the gaiters off, stuff them back in my bag. Then when I go to get down, or when I get to the base of the tree, I'll put them back on, start breaking brush again, do whatever I'm going to do to get back to the truck. They're just considerably more comfortable to me than snake boots. They break in easier, they wear easier, and I've got some of those Nighthawk Pro Gear gaiters that have the light in the shin. And when I first saw it, I was like, that's stupid. Why would you put a light on your leg? And then I saw how they work. And I don't know if you've ever, like, if you're looking for, so here's kind of a niche thing, not so much, but if you've ever put an AR-15 together, you know how you lose that little detent spring when you try to put the front takedown pin in there? It's gone. You can take a flashlight and lay it on the floor and turn it on like a hardwood floor, and you'll see it, how the light casts shadows on any little grain of sand, everything. That's how you find really small parts. You can do it for finding glass if you break something on the floor as well. Those lights at your shin level kind of do the same thing when you're walking through the woods. They're bringing that light down really low so that you see the differences in terrain. I was like, well, okay, now that I've seen it, this makes a lot of sense. And it's actually a really awesome way to walk into the woods. And they got sweet little lights that just fit in the shin of the top of the wader. So you can get some of those. You can use them with the light, without the light. They work the same either way, but they still provide you with snake protection, even when we don't have the light in there. They've got white, green, and red, I do believe, at least last I checked. Don't hold me to that, though. And I don't have a discount code for you, although I should, because they're awesome. I like mine. They fit well. They're comfortable. And they're relatively waterproof. Like if you're wearing a waterproof shoe and you splash through the water, step into a creek and keep going, you're not going to be able to stand there, obviously, but getting through, they'll keep your legs pretty dry. So, but that's where the idea of comfort kills deer. And I say it a lot when I talk about the Hasmo Outdoor Products silent seat. When I read my ad for the main show, how the seat, backrest, and stealth strips keep you in the stand longer, keep you more comfortable, therefore keeping you in stand longer, giving you a greater increased chance of killing a deer. And I mean that because, like, and you think of the simple thing of the stealth strips, right? The stealth strips are just getting your foot off of that metal, and whatever little bit of heat that is radiating out of your shoes or whatever else in the cold, that metal's going to suck it out of it. So your feet are going to get cold faster. Not only that, the stealth strips help quiet the movement of your feet down a little bit on the stand. That's why they're called stealth strips. So they keep you a little quieter. But having that silent seat, I like mine. They're for some people, not for everybody. But I like it down here in Florida in the early season because it breathes really well. And I like it. I use it all season long on my climber. Just when it gets cold out, I have a Thermarest butt cushion that I stick on there. And that provides me a little bit of butt insulation. So, and that keeps my butt warm. But that seat sits a lot higher in the climber, which for me is more comfortable. May not be more comfortable for you. Maybe you like to sit down slung low, but I don't like that. I like to sit as high as I can in that climber. I have a big Summit, the Viper 360, the one you can sit facing the tree or away from the tree, although I don't sit facing the tree now that I have that silent seat. But I could still push it back and put my regular Summit seat back on there. I haven't in a long time, but I could. I really like that seat. And because I'm more comfortable, I sit still and I stay in a stand longer. So it's just mostly about increasing your time on stand or in the woods. And by increasing your time that you stay in the woods, you increase your chances of seeing deer. So we're going to start by talking about footwear. I have some nice shoes. I've got some Oboe Sawtooth men's mid-tooths. They're like $250 boots, and they're great. They require a break-in period. You have to kind of break those shoes in a bit. What I want you to think about when you're thinking about hunting, walking in flatlands here in Florida, and then especially if you're going to be saddle hunting or climbing, climbing steps, if you're going to hunt out of a lock on or whatever else, that hard sole, not a soft sole, hard soled shoe, because that's going to reduce foot fatigue over time. Your running shoes are kind of soft and pliable and squishy. You don't want that out of a shoe you're going to walk on rough terrain over, or be standing in for a long period of time, especially if you're standing on that saddle platform, because you're going to kind of put your feet to the edge, and you want that soft sole to distribute the pressure of the platform or the steps or whatever across your entire foot to give you better balance, a lot of things. So a hard sole shoe doesn't necessarily have to be the ones that I have. What I would recommend doing is going to a store and trying on several different pairs of shoes. Spend good money, buy a quality shoe with a good hard sole, and do the break-in period. Doesn't mean your feet have to hurt when you go to hunt. You live somewhere with a road. Matt says the Lacrosse Arrowhead snake boots, 16-inch, are the best boots I've ever worn. I had a pair of Lacrosse snake boots at one time. They were very comfortable, and they actually lasted quite a while. I had them for a good 3 years or so before they finally, like the zipper on the side busted loose, and I was like, screw it. In fact, I actually may still have them over there. I just don't wear them anymore. But go to the store, and I've actually found now, like I have a work boot that has the Red Wing with the king toe. So it's got like a really wide toe box in it. And I didn't realize how cramped my toes were in so many shoes until I started wearing those king toe boots. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find some hunting boots with that big toe box in there and my toes spread out, because I wear flip-flops a lot. So I'm wearing flip-flops right now. If I'm not in cowboy boots, I'm in flip-flops. That's about it. Or my work boots. I steel toe boots for work. But that king toe, I didn't realize how bad my toes are cramped in some of my other shoes until I got that king toe boot. So I'm going to look for some hunting boots with that wider toe box. I think that'll keep me more comfortable longer. Everybody's foot's shaped different. And I mean, I wear anywhere from like a size 11 all the way out to like a 13, depending on the shoe brand and the style of shoe and everything else. And that's why I don't like to order shoes online. I have such a hard time ordering shoes and getting them the right size. Maybe I just got funny feet. I don't know. But I seem to have a need to try on and move around in shoes before I can decide if they're comfortable or not. And different sizes. So we're going to start with quality footwear. When it comes to socks, I like merino socks, because merino wool socks, they actually provide cushion for your feet. I don't know if you've realized or not, but those cheap cotton socks you've been wearing for years from Walmart, they don't actually, they wear flat, and you see it after a while. They kind of get stiff. You know what I'm talking about, especially if we're in the military and those old green army socks that after a while would like stand on their own. Those things are garbage. But they get the job done. That's what they issued us in basic training. But you switch to a merino, and that merino stays fluffier and actually provides your foot with some cushion. On top of that, they're antimicrobial, so they don't stink. Your feet don't stink. Well, your feet still stink, but the socks don't stink. And you can get those in different warmth ratings, from a normal everyday wear boot sock up to a warmer winter sock. And wool retains its ability to keep you warm even when it's wet. So if your feet sweat, it's going to help you out a lot. Florida Boy Outfitter says those boots are hard to beat. I've had 3 or 4 pairs. The comfort-wise boots are a way to go. If you can get away with the, let's see here. If you can get a comfort-wise lace-up boots, is the way to go. If you can get away with keeping them dry, camp dry. You can treat them to keep them dry. But if you guys haven't seen Florida, if you're not subscribed to the Florida Outfitters channel, you need to go check that out. Check out that latest video they just put out today. It's awesome. I did miss your chubby feet comment. But quality socks will make your sit all that much better too. So, merino socks are the answer. Comfortable in the hot or cold weather too. Wool is a really good temperature regulator. I have a wool jacket that I bought from Asbel wool, and it's a hoodie style like what I'm wearing now, except it has a zipper that comes all the way from the neck all the way down to the top of the like kangaroo pouch pocket in there, so I can zip it and open the whole thing up really well. And it's a little heavier weight than this Carhartt hoodie I'm sitting here wearing right now. Like the material itself feels thicker, but I can wear that thing from like 60 degrees outside if I'm sitting still all the way down to about 35 degrees and I'm still warm, and I'm not too hot on the opposite end, and I'm not too cold at the bottom end of that with no layers underneath of it. So wool is the answer to a lot of your questions. You go up to the pants. There's a lot of companies out there that sell the latest fancy great pants. Always going to stick to merino as your base. I'm always going to stick to merino as my base layer. Not only does, it, like I said, it retains its ability to keep you warm even when it's wet through your sweat, but also natural fibers like wool and cotton don't reflect light near as much as fibers like polyester do. So it's going to make you a little harder for deer to see. So Florida Boy Outfitters, he started wearing merino wool socks and base layers this year. Yeah, from 100 to 40 degrees. And it's been comfortable. It's awesome stuff, man. It's not cheap, but it's worth the expenditure. Especially if you're buying socks and you're buying like Darn Tough socks. Darn Tough socks have a lifetime warranty. You wear a hole in one, send it back, they'll send you a new pair. So your merino base layer, you can look at like, I think it's Wrangler makes like a stretchy, dark colored earth tone pant. They're kind of like a nylon Cordura, so ripstop material. So they're pretty tough. They're thin, so they're going to be lighter weight in the summertime. And you can layer underneath of them as the year goes on to keep you warm. But they're great pants for hiking through the woods or sitting in a tree stand, whatever else. And then you go up to your, upper layer again. I'm sticking with the merino wool's base layer, and I just came across, not last year. Last year's the first year I started wearing a vest, like an insulated vest. But the year before that, I had one. I borrowed one from Jake Bigby, and I was blown away at how well that insulated vest allowed my core to stay warm while not insulating my arms, and that kept my entire body warm without making me too hot. So I started wearing one of those last year. I got a Carhartt insulated vest, and it's fantastic. Oh, the boots are on sale right now. Matt said he's just checked the boots. They're on sale right now. They're regularly $230. Now they're $115. So that's a pretty good deal. I'd jump on that if you can. And then we go to the tree stand. So you got to understand, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. The first time you hunt in a saddle is not comfortable. None of them are going to be comfortable. Not like sitting in a climber. But you also got to understand this. You have to get into saddle shape. It's not uncomfortable because the saddle is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because you haven't learned how to comfortably sit in it yet. So when I first started, there's a lot of adjustment, figuring out how I wanted my bridge, how I wanted my tether, so on and so forth, to avoid hip pinch and have rotation and movement, freedom of movement, and all these other things, until I finally got it figured out, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. And then I sit down, turn sideways against a tree, cross my arms on the back side of my bridge, and just take a nap. Just like that. Pass out. And I've been out for 20 or 30 minutes at a time. I think the only saddle I've sat in that was comfortable right off the rip was the JX5, but it's huge. It's bulky. It's lightweight, but it's bulky, and it'd be tough to bow hunt out of. So that comes with, it's going to be situational dependent. If you're going to walk a long ways and you're going to hunt for 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and then you're going to move, or you need the ability to move quickly, set up anywhere, break down, move again, a saddle's probably the way to go. If you're going to walk, a couple miles in. But if you're hunting closer to the truck, you may want to think about hunting out of the climber. You're going 400 or 500 yards. My climber weighs like 25 pounds with nothing else. So when I strap a backpack and everything else to that, it gets heavy quick. But I can sit all day in that climber really comfortably. So it really all depends on how far I'm going to go, what I'm going to hunt out of. Even more so this year, I've been trying to hunt a lot off the ground just because I want to kill a deer off the ground without a blind. So I've been hunting out of a mobile ground chair that the Amstel guy makes. I bought it. Oh, I pre-ordered it way back when he first came out with it. I think I paid $80 for it. Now they're $100 if they're even in stock. But it's a great little chair. The only drawback to it is it requires you to have a tree because it straps to the base of a tree. So the positive to that is you've always got back cover with the tree to your back. The downside is you need a tree. I have another chair saved in my cart. I can't remember the name of it, and my phone is up here, so I couldn't look it up and tell you. But it weighs like 4 pounds, and you actually carry it, and it unfolds. You can sit in it. Yeah, it's definitely a tool to have when necessary. The saddle or the climber or whatever you're going to hunt out of. A lock-on is probably a happy medium because you can actually like sit on a seat in a lock-on. Now, the only thing with a lock-on versus a climber or a saddle is I've never felt more like I'm going to fall out of a tree stand than when I'm sitting in a lock-on. But you get used to it after a while. I've got a little Millennium Micro Light that I hunt out of. And sometimes I use it as a hybrid setup with the saddle, which is another way to go about it. Gives you a place to sit and stand. It gives you kind of the best of both worlds, but it does add a little bit of weight over carrying just a platform. And it's comfortable. It's fairly cheap. I want to say you can get one for about $200 and $250, and they're like 8-9 pounds, something like that. So strap some sticks on there and roll out with it. But all in all, that comfort factor is what's going to keep you still. And being still is going to keep you from getting busted. If it's going to be cold outside, I cannot stress enough to you to layer clothes. Don't just put on the biggest, heaviest jacket you've got and the biggest, heaviest pants you have with blue jeans and a t-shirt on underneath of there. Because what you need to be doing, especially if you're walking a long ways to the tree stand from where you're parked the truck or whatever else, is you need to have, I wouldn't say quite your base layer, but on a cold day, I'll walk in with like my base layer, and I have some, like my wool jacket or my wool jacket, wool hoodie on. Then when I get to the tree, I may either take that off and add a layer underneath of it, or I'll put my vest on over top of it to provide me with a little more warmth. And then I'll even carry like a thicker pair of outside insulated pants. I've got some, I have a hard-backed fleece pants from Natural Gear, and I'll roll those suckers up and put them on the bottom of my bag. And when I climb up and get sat down, then I'll pull the pants on over top of everything, because they're warm, but when I'm walking, they're too warm, and I start to sweat. And if I start to sweat, I'm going to get cold. In the summertime, I will walk out to summertime. In the fall in Florida, in the early season, here down south, it's still hot outside. Yeah, sweat is not your friend. So I will actually walk out to the tree stand, typically wearing the same pants I'm going to hunt in, because I'm not changing my pants in the woods. But I'll walk out wearing like an earth tone t-shirt. And then when I get out there, I get set up. I will take the shirt off, let myself air out for a second, dry some of the sweat best I can with the shirt, roll the shirt up, stuff it in my bag, and then put on another earth tone or camouflage shirt that I've carried in my bag the whole way out there that's dry. It's not full of sweat. Immediately when I do that, I feel cooler, because don't have that sticky shirt sticking to you, trying to pull it loose, let the air flow through. So I found that helps a lot. And it helps keep mosquitoes off you. I've also switched to just when the mosquitoes are terrible, I break out the 90% DEET and I spray it. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I wear bug spray into the deer woods bow hunting. But you got to play the wind. That's the big factor. And the thermocells work great as long as there's no wind. If there's any wind, it blows it right off with you and you're still swatting mosquitoes the whole time. I'm hunting with a longbow. I need deer at 10 to 15 yards. So I need to be still and I need to be quiet. And if spraying myself with DEET and keeping the wind in my face is what I got to do to be still, that's going to help me see and kill more deer than trying to worry about my scent. Now, the thing, too, is I wonder about the thermocells because I can smell the thermocell. So if I can smell it, so can the deer. And there has to be a point now that they've started to associate that smell with us as hunters because they all smell the same. All the thermocells smell the same. So something to think about. I mean, I know Thermacell made those earth wafer pads and all kinds of crap for a while, but who knows anymore. I haven't looked into that very much. So I'll spray some bug spray on. Put my gaiters on, walk out to the woods in the early season. When I get back to the truck, one of the first things I do is take my boots off and go slip some Crocs on, even when it's cold outside. Get those boots off, free those toes up to move around my chubby feet, and get them in those Crocs, get the toes moving. You get your toe movement back and your toes start feeling, in the wintertime, they start feeling warm again. I don't like driving around, especially if you're in snake boots or you're duck hunting and you're in waders. It's not fun to try and drive in waders, and it's not fun to have to take off a whole ass shoe. So Crocs or deck boots or something like that, you can just slip your feet into some Hey Dudes. And wear that back of the truck. And then I'm not tracking my hunting boots all through whatever else I'm walking around and the other crap in. I carry a bigger backpack than I need because I stack layers in the wintertime. In the early season, sometimes I don't even carry a backpack. I carry like a fanny pack with my rain gear underneath of it. That's another thing to talk about investing in too. It's quality rain gear. Because there's good rain gear and there's cheap rain gear. And you can have rain gear that keeps you dry, but it's not going to be cheap. And you can have rain gear that's cheap, but it's not going to keep you dry. One of the cheapest forms of effective rain gear is a poncho. And hunting with a bow, you'd probably be okay. You set your bow on top of it. I've set a rifle on top of it. I've also set a rifle underneath of it. And then you just arms out, the poncho falls through, and you can shoot. Sit in a climber with a poncho on. You put a poncho on and throw it out over the edge of the climber, and water just rolls off you. Just sit there and let it rain. I have good rain gear now, pants and jacket. I can't really put my bow on top of a poncho because I need my feathers to stay dry. I don't have plastic veins, so when those feathers get wet, it makes the arrow fly a little funny. But I have hit them with like powdered silicone, and that helps them repel water too. So staying dry, staying warm. Sweat is also going to get you wet. We covered that. If we covered it once, we've covered it 100 times. And that goes for your feet as well. So wearing 800-gram Thinsulate boots with the thickest redhead fleece socks you could find at Bass Pro Shops, and you get out to the woods and you're like, out to the tree stand, and you walked the whole way there in those, and you're like, man, I can't believe these things don't work worth a crap. Try this. One, here's a hot tip. They sell over boots that'll go on over the outside of your shoe. Those things are fantastic. Keep your feet warm when it's really cold if you're sitting in a tree stand. Two, wear thin socks to the tree stand. And then when you get to the tree, when you're up in the tree, it's easier if you're in a ladder stand than if you're in a saddle or something, but you could still do it in a saddle. You just do it at the base of the tree instead of in the tree. Take the boots off, same as you would in the summertime with the wet T-shirt. Roll them suckers up, stick them in your backpack, and then put the warm socks on. Save those for when you get to the tree. Keep you 10 times warmer in the tree. Because it gets that sweaty sock off your foot, put a dry sock on, keep your feet warm. And I know that cold feet are no fun. I kind of quit wearing gloves. I have like one of the little pouch things for my hands. Like I have the kangaroo pouch pocket. I prefer that. I like the dexterity of my hands, and once my hands are warm, they stay pretty warm as long as I'm not touching metal. So I can keep my hands in my pockets and then take them out, and they're fine in the cold air. But the dexterity of being able to feel a trigger or feel the string on the bow makes a huge difference for me, accuracy wise. So I don't wear gloves very often. And the gloves I do have are fingerless, or they have the ability to be. They're like the mittens that you can pull your fingers out. Yeah, or yeah, you're right. You could just leave the socks on the guy's stand that's close to you in public so he can smell them. He can smell his way to the tree stand. That's also an option, I guess. But being comfortable is going to keep you in the woods longer, therefore resulting in you seeing and killing more deer. Because you can't kill deer if you're not in the woods, unless you do it with your truck trying to get to the woods. That's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, and I'm not saying that this is what's going to kill your booners, but the more time you sit in the woods greatly increases your chances that you're going to see the booner to kill. But a lot of us out here, looking at it realistically, we're out here to kill deer. We're going to put meat in the freezer. We're happy with a nice 3.5-year-old 130-inch 8-point. We're stoked. So that's what we're going to shoot when it comes out. And having that time in the seat is what's going to increase the odds of being able to do that. Whether it's sitting all day or just sitting through until 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, being able to sit later into the morning until your belly starts grumbling for some breakfast or lunch, because your feet aren't frozen or you're not cold to the core because you didn't sweat walking in that morning because you layered clothes and you wore your thin layers out and then put your warm layers on when you got there. Or it's you not swatting mosquitoes and the deer actually comes in close enough for into bow range because you're being still. Or you've taken the shirt off and now you're not covered in sweat, so you're more comfortable as the evening goes on. Or you got that quality rain gear to get you through that short 20-minute thunderstorm that happens in the south all the time in the early season, that the deer are going to move so well right afterwards. And you don't have to suffer. Suffering kills deer too. But being comfortable is a whole lot more fun. So I guess we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you guys for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. And as I said, make sure you guys go and grab your tickets to that staccato. For that staccato, I think I'm going to grab one, and maybe I'll win it, and then I'll show it to you guys. We'll see. I know Hunter over here, he's pretty lucky. He would be the one to win it. But we'll catch you guys next week.